Link building. In this section, we're going to cover one of the most effective methods to get your website higher up in Google. We've already covered on-page SEO, however, that will only get you so far, especially if you are targeting a city with tons of competition. To go the extra mile and really dominate page one, you need to have a clear understanding of link building and how it works. So without further ado, let's get into it. In this section, we're going to cover what are backlinks and how important are they. We're going to look at what is anchor text and why does it play a crucial part in your link building campaign. We're going to find out exactly what backlinks your website already has. We're going to go through the difference between citations and backlinks. We're going to look at how to determine what makes a good backlink. And we're going to look at 4 powerful strategies to generate high quality backlinks for your website. So I'm not going to waste your time going over 20 or 50 different backlink strategies. I'm going to go through the 4 most powerful strategies. And these are the exact strategies we use at the agency. So let's dive into it. What is a backlink? A backlink, often referred to as a link, is a mention of your website on an external website. From the screenshot below, you can see that website A links to website B. As a result, site A has an external link to site B, and site B has a backlink from site A. Quite simple. So now you know what a backlink is, let's find out exactly why they're important. If we go back to our car analogy, you'll remember me saying that on-page SEO is the car's wheels and the chassis, where off-page SEO would be the car's engine. So let's imagine we've done on-page to perfection and we have the best wheels in the car and the strongest chassis and so on and so on. If we was now to put in an old engine from 100 years ago, we obviously wouldn't get the best results. The car, for example, it might keep running into issues, or even worse, it might fail to start. This is why backlinks are super important. Typically, on-page SEO isn't enough to get you to page 1. However, what on-page SEO does do is provide you with a really strong foundation which you can then build upon. A backlink represents a vote of confidence from one site to another. In essence, backlinks to your website are a signal to Google that others vouch for your content. SEMrush carried out a test in July 2017, which measured the biggest ranking factors in Google's algorithm. As you'll see from the image below, the 5th biggest factor was referring domains, which essentially means the amount of links you have from unique websites, aka backlinks. And if you actually look below that, you also see backlinks is right under referring domains in position 6. In short, backlinks are huge and can really push a site higher up in Google. However, like anything, with great power comes great responsibility, and doing too much or too many backlinks can do a lot of harm for your website. This is especially true if they're low quality backlinks. Here's an example of a backlink we have for Level Finish. It's a backlink from a website called Small Business Sense. In this article, Small Business Sense is talking about why you should use a professional flooring contractor and basically not do it yourself. If you look closely, in the middle of the 2nd paragraph, you'll see there's a link in there which, if clicked, would direct you to Level Finish's homepage. This link is a clear vote of confidence and is the type of backlink we want to have, as it's a clear signal to Google that Level Finish has to be considered in its rankings as it has a strong backlink, which, as we know, is super important when it comes to ranking websites. What is anchor text? Anchor text refers to the clickable words used to link one web page to another. The color of text is usually blue as it's an actual hyperlink. However, the text can be whatever color the website owner chooses, and sometimes it's dependent on what theme they are using. If we go back to that example of the link we had for Level Finish, you will see in this scenario, the anchor text is our brand name, Level Finish, as that's the actual clickable text, not the words before or after. It's simply Level Finish. So why is anchor text important? SEO best practices dictate that anchor text should be relevant to the page you're linking to rather than generic. Google can actually read this anchor text and they take it into consideration when ranking a website. For example, if you link to a website with the anchor text blue hat, Google is going to assume the page you're linking to has some relation to blue hats. As you can imagine, there are different types of anchor text you can use when linking to a web page. If we took our carpet insulation page as an example, we could link to this page using 5 different anchors in total. The first would be an exact match anchor, where we reference the exact keyword we are targeting, so carpet insulation Richmond, Virginia. These are super powerful as there's no doubt as to what the page is going to be about if we link with an exact match anchor. However, these aren't the most natural, so you want to avoid using them frequently. In fact, Google has actually clamped down on these a lot in recent years due to people trying to manipulate the algorithm. The second type of anchor would be partial match, so carpet insulation service by Level Finish. This is classified as partial match as it only has parts of our main keyword in it, which is carpet insulation. There's no mention of Richmond, for example. These are more natural and as a result are more safer to use. However, as with most link building campaigns, it's hard to control what anchor text people will use when linking to our sites. It's more a case of if you find you're getting too many of any type, you want to try your best to mix things up and explore other anchor types. The third type is what we call branded. This is the type we saw in the example link for level finish. This is when a website will link to you using your brand name as an anchor text. Branded anchors are great for increasing your brand presence online. They're also super safe, as you can't get penalized by Google for having too many links to your site with the anchor text being your brand name. Just take Amazon, for example. The majority of people who link to Amazon online will link to them saying Amazon, which, as we know, is a branded type of anchor. The fourth type of anchor is what we call a naked URL. This one is quite self-explanatory and is essentially when a website will link to your website and it will use the whole URL as the anchor text. So they will literally go into the content and paste in your URL, and then they will make the whole URL an anchor text. The last type of anchor text is what we call miscellaneous. This is when a website will link to your site using generic text such as read more, click here. That is essentially the 5 different types of anchor text you can use when linking out to another website. Right, see you guys in the next video. What anchor types does your website need? I get asked this question almost every single day, and I hate to say it, but there is no perfect ratio. Simply put, it's best practice to have a variation of them all. You can use SEMrush and look at all the anchor text your competition are using. However, I wouldn't recommend it as it gets messy very quickly. As a result, it's best to keep things natural and build all types of anchor text. I've seen websites at the top of Google with just exact match anchors. And I've also seen websites at the top of Google with just branded anchors. I guess Google has a different range of lenience for different industries. You do, however, need to be super careful when you're using exact match anchors, as you can over-optimize the site very, very quickly. This is especially true if your domain name has a keyword in it, as Google can potentially get confused and think you're building exact match anchors when in fact you're just building branded links. For example, if your site is called carpet.com and you start building tons of links to your site with the anchor text saying carpet, this can very easily be misinterpreted that you are building links with exact match anchors. If your domain does have a keyword in it, be sure to pay close attention to that and avoid exact match anchors even more. What pages should you build backlinks to? I get asked this question quite a bit, and when you change your perspective and look at things from a different angle, the answer is very straightforward. A backlink can help improve the visibility of a web page in Google. As a result, you're going to want to build backlinks to all of the pages you'd like to have more visibility for. Simply put, build backlinks to the pages you want to rank. So whether that's your homepage, your service pages, or your blog posts, build links to the pages that you want to rank. But wait there, before you go on and start building links to all your service pages, just bear in mind, every piece of content you publish on your website should have some value. Otherwise, what's the point of you publishing it, right? So again, if you change your perspective, the majority of the pages on your site will have some value to potential customers, obviously minus the standard about and the contact page for obvious reasons. So if there's value in the page, you should really be building links to it. Take your blog post, for example. There's tons of information and value in them, so it's only right you build links to them so you can showcase all of that value. In short, you should be building links to all 3 of these page types. Don't just build links to your service pages, as that looks extremely unnatural. You want to blend in and not actively look like we're doing SEO, as it's no surprise that Google isn't a fan of SEO, as people who know SEO typically don't spend money on running any Google ads, which is where Google make the bulk of the money. In summary, build links to all pages that have value on your website. So now that you know what a backlink is, it's time to check what backlinks your website has at present. So it's good to know as well, if you have a brand new website, so you made it today or even last week, for example, there won't be any information showing here, as there obviously won't be any backlinks pointing to your site, as it's a brand new website. However, if your site is maybe 6 months or a year old, for example, you should have some backlinks pointing to your site already, as typically over time, sites just generate backlinks naturally. So what you want to do is go over to SEMrush and simply plug in your website URL and then click search. Once you click search, you want to make sure you have the right database selected. So mine would be United States. So you can see from this third section right here, it says backlinks. So these are the total number of backlinks my site has, which is levelfinish.com. And if you look below that, it says referring domains 69. So like I said earlier on in the course, a referring domain is essentially a link from a unique website. So what this means is I have 69 different websites linking out to Level Finish. So some of them must link multiple times, which is why we have 116 backlinks in total. So if we go into the backlinks now and click the number, this will give you some information and a good overview of the backlinks you have to your site. It will also tell you when it was last updated. So for me, it was last updated 11 days ago, which is just over a week and a half. So again, not too bad at all. So if you scroll down on the backlinks tab now, it will just give you all the information about the links, the web pages that are linking back to your site. It will also show you the anchor text as well. So you've got level finish right there. Sorry, we have level finish URL. Then we have another URL of level finish. We've got hardwood floor installation, Richmond, Virginia, which will be the anchor text, and the low bit would be the URL the link is pointing to. So instead of having to look at the anchors here and then seeing the URL below, you can actually go to the top and then click anchors. And what this will do, it will show you all the anchors in a nice, clean and clear format. So if you remember when I said in the anchor text part of the course, you need to monitor your anchor text and make sure you're not over optimized, aka you don't have too many of one type. So we can see from our anchor text overview, we have quite a few backlinks saying the same anchor text, which would be hardwood floor installation of Richmond, Virginia. So this is a note to me that I now want to avoid getting links having that as an anchor text, as I'm going to have too many. At present, I've already got 51, which if you look at comparison to the rest of my anchor text, I have 2, 4, 18, which just seems to be empty. I've got 7, which is just for the website name, kind of like a branded search. So this is a very good place to come just to get a good overview of your website and have a look at all of your anchor texts. Like I said, if you go to your referring domains, you can now see all of the domains that link to your website. So again, there should be 69, and these are the 69 websites that link at to level finish. If you look closely as well, it will say new and lost. So for me, what that means is this is a new link that's just come in on enjoymart.com, and this is the link I've just lost. So the beauty of it showing you what links you've lost is it then means you can go out and contact these websites and say, hey, you did used to link to our website. I've noticed you've stopped linking to us now. Is there any reason in particular? Can we help? Did you not like our service, for example? However, as I can see from this site right here, the site that stopped linking to me was Mayweather v McGregor live.us. So it's actually not a relevant link anyway. This is probably a spammy site which just linked to us. I'm not sure why. However, they've removed the link now, so it's not a problem. So in this case, I won't actually contact these guys to get that link kind of reinstated. So SEMrush is very powerful, like I said many times in this course. Very good when you know what you're doing. So do have a play around. There's a lot more sections up here as well you can play around with. However, the main 3 you want to be looking at is the backlinks, anchors, and referring domains. The difference between citations and backlinks. There is one key element which differentiates citations and backlinks. That is, citations are typically what we call no-follow links, where on the other hand, backlinks are what we call do-follow links. A no-follow link is basically a line of text you add in a link which tells Google to ignore this link and not pass over any SEO benefit. Now you might be thinking that citations are useless and have zero value. If you did think that, then you'll be wrong, as they do indeed have their role. Businesses need a mix of both citations and backlinks to fit in and look natural. Imagine how many local businesses out there have citations. I would say about 90% of them. So why would you skip that step? Citations also help loads when it comes to building up your brand presence online, as they do also convey trust, as only legitimate businesses can get citations. Trust is another important part of the algorithm, and getting links from sites like manta.com, which is the site we got a link from in the citation section of the course, is a great way to build up some trust. Citations are also critical when it comes to getting your business listed in the map pack. A do-follow link is a link which does the opposite, which in fact is just a standard typical link. These links pass SEO value and tell search engines they should indeed follow this link and take it into consideration when ranking this particular website. If you actually go over to SEMrush and go back to the backlink section, you can actually filter all of your backlinks by follow and no follow. So no follow would be your what we call citations, and then follow would typically be your standard links. How to determine what makes a good backlink? As you can imagine, not all backlinks are created equal. Just because a website looks clean and shiny on the surface, it doesn't necessarily mean that having a link from that site will have a benefit. There's a 5-step checklist I like to use when I evaluate how good a link is. If a site doesn't meet all 5 points on my criteria, then I most likely won't go ahead of it. The reason being is, SEO these days is all about quality and not quantity. You really can't afford to make sacrifices when it comes to the quality of your SEO campaign. So without further ado, these are the 5 things you should check when determining if your backlinks are good or not. Number 1, check the website's page authority. Good websites will have a page authority of at least 30. Check the website's domain authority. Again, good websites will have a domain authority of at least 30. Number 3, check the page isn't linking out to tons of other different websites. So if you get a link from a site and on that same page, it links out to another 5 or 10 different websites, this isn't a good sign, as typically these sites will do what we call selling links. So selling links is against Google terms and conditions, and you really want to avoid getting links on sites like these. Number 4, check the website's traffic. So we can check how much traffic the website gets using SEMrush. This is a very good indication to figure out if the site you're getting a link from is actually good. as sites with no traffic generally aren't the best sites to get a link from. Potentially, if a site has no traffic, it could have got penalized from Google in the past. If it has, we obviously want to avoid getting a link from this type of site. So sites that have quite a bit of traffic, it's a good signal, as if the site was bad, Google wouldn't be giving the site any traffic in the first place. Number 5, check how many keywords this website appears for. So this is pretty the same mindset and logic for number 4. It all goes back to seeing if the site is good in the eyes of Google, aka if the site is good, it will have some keywords it's appearing for. If it's not a good site, it won't have that many keywords at all. So we want to look for sites that rank for lots of keywords, as it's a good indication these are good sites in the eyes of Google, which means if they link to us, it's going to be a good link. So now we know these 5 things, it's time to look at 2 backlinks we have for level finish and evaluate whether they are good backlinks or not. So the first link is from a site called Small Business Sense. So this is actually a link I showed you earlier on in the course. I already had the Moz Chrome bar extension installed in my browser. So as you can see, I had the number 45 getting pulled over the Chrome extension. If I give this a click twice, it will bring through both my page authority and my domain authority for this link. So as you can see, page authority is 27, which is just 3 points below what I recommend of 30. And the domain authority is 45, which is 15 points above what I recommend, which again is 30. So both these numbers ideally should be 30. As I'm only 3 below on the page authority, it's not the end of the world. And especially bearing in mind I have 45 for domain authority, this is very high indeed. So on the whole, this is a pretty good link. If we scroll down now, just to double check how many links this page actually links out to, we can see it links out to Level Finish, which is obviously us. If we scroll down, we can see there is no more links. So it passes that check. If we go ahead and plug in the domain into SEMrush, we can see in regards to traffic, it's roughly getting 12.1k visitors to the site every single month, which is really good. You want to see a number of at least 200 here. So we have 12,000, which is really good. If we scroll down and look at the organic keywords, we can see this site almost appears for 10,000 different keywords. So again, nothing to worry about at all here. If we go and look at the second link now, so this is a link on greenprofit.com. It's an article talking about our flooring contractors as skilled as each other. And you'll see there'll be a link here which says what steps you should take. And if I click this, this will obviously link to Level Finish's homepage, as you can just see there. So first thing I want to do is check the page authority and the domain authority. And as you can see from the toolbar, page authority is 37, which is over 30, really good. Domain authority is super high on this site, which is 67. So another really strong link. Just want to double check there's no more links in this article. It's just the one for Level Finish. As you can see, indeed, there's only one link in this article, which is to Level Finish. So this is another really good link. If we go overhead to SEMrush now and plug in greenprofit.com, and look at the traffic, you can see they're getting over 200 visits to the site a month. They're getting 3.7k. So again, almost 4,000 visitors to the site every single month. Nothing to worry about there. If we scroll down to the organic keywords, you can see they appear for over 12,000 different keywords. So tons of keywords there indeed. So again, nothing to worry about. This is another solid link. It's important to note as well, when you check the article for links, if you do see links in the article, which if you click them, link to another article on the site, so what we call internal links, this is nothing to worry about. It's only if you see links going to external websites. So again, this is how we evaluate the 5 different elements when determining if a backlink is good. Strategy number 1, guest posting. Guest posting means writing an article for someone else's blog. It's a great way to connect with new readers and get your name out whilst also securing a backlink back to your website. It's actually my favorite method, as you're able to get links within a few days, which is a massive win. The beauty of guest posting is that as you're writing the content yourself, you're able to pick that anchor text as well. This is super powerful, as like I said in the anchor text video, if you realize you're getting too many of any certain anchor types, then you want to avoid getting more of them, as it can look unnatural. With guest posting, you can do just this. You want to get guest post opportunities on sites that are relevant to what you do. Now, it doesn't have to be a like-for-like site, but the site should at least be in the same industry as yours. For example, if I was to try and get a link on another floor installation company, that would be quite difficult. However, what I can do is take one step back and try and secure a link on a home improvement website, as new flooring in your home obviously comes under the home improvement niche. Getting links from sites in the same niche as you helps tremendously when it comes to increasing the niche relevancy of your website, which, as you should know by now, is super important when ranking on Google. And like I said, it's a great way to connect with new readers and get your name out there. Right, so how do we find these guest post opportunities? So it's pretty simple when you use Google search operators. So a Google search operator is something you search in Google with a little variation. So for example, I have niche submit a guest post. This is what we call a Google search operator, as I've included speech marks in the search. So niche would simply be the niche you operate in, and then you'd simply want to put speech marks, submit a guest post, close speech mark. So this is a very handy one. There's another 4 more I'll show you. We can have a niche and then just go for guest post. We can also use niche guest post by. We can go for niche accepting guest posts. And lastly, we can have niche write for us. So typically sites that accept guest posts, what they do, they'll have a page on the site talking about how you can submit a guest post, the guidelines you need to follow, why you might want to write for us. So just bragging about how big the audience is, for example. So we can use these operators to find more guest post opportunities for our businesses. So let's head over to Google right now and show you exactly how we do this using the first example, which would be niche submit a guest post. So we're now over on Google and we're going to carry a search out for the first search operator. So that was niche submit a guest post. So for me, my niche is going to be home improvement. So I'm going to simply search for home improvement, submit a guest post. So the reason why I'm putting submit a guest post in speech marks is when you do this, you are telling Google to only return websites which mention submit a guest post on them. So it helps you sieve out all the sites which don't actually accept a guest post in the first place. So as you can see, straight off the bat, there is tons of sites here which offer guest posts as a submission. So you can see I've got sarahrussellInteriors.com, I've got home improvement, thehelpcenter.com, easyhomeimprovement.co.uk, I've got pat.org.uk. So again, tons of opportunities. And if you actually go further back on Google and go to page 2, you'll see there's even more opportunities here as well. So if you click one of the sites, for example, and just show you what they typically say. So typically when you click one of these pages, it's going to be a page giving you advice on how to submit one and just the information you need to follow. So some guidelines and requirements. So you can see on Sarah Russell, if you scroll down, here's some advice: do some proper research, write a piece of high quality content. They even give you some information about what to do in your title, so make sure it's attractive. They even give you some advice on the amount of words you should have in your guest post. So tons of information on here as well. And if you scroll to the bottom, you'll see you have some contact details to get in touch with the owner of the site and submit your guest post. However, before we do that, we want to determine if the site is a good site. And like I said in the last video, you don't want to be getting links off sites that aren't good. So to check if the site is good, we're going to be using the same 5 criteria as we went through in the last video. So whilst I'm on the site, let's go and look at other articles she's posted just to get a feel of how they'll look. So let's open that in a new tab. We'll go for her interior category. And this will show me all of her articles to do with home interior. So we have the art of growing indoor trees, 5 common interior painting mistakes to avoid. We can see bespoke storage solutions. So again, before we even click into the articles, you can see her site is updated frequently. We have an article in January, which is this month. We have one in December. We have 2 in November. Or we actually have 3 in November. So this is good. This is all good signs. So let's look at this article as an example. We can see the article is obviously about painting, and straight away we have an image at the top, which is a painter sitting down, drinking maybe some tea or coffee, who knows? Could even be a smoothie, who knows? But essentially, as you can see, the image is relevant to what the article is about, which is good. We can see the content is nicely formatted. It's very nice and clean as well, very easy on the eyes. And you can see at the bottom, it says this article was brought to us by Grand Rapids Painters over at Hillis Brothers. So this could potentially be a guest post that these guys have submitted to her site. So this is all good things, as you can see how your guest post would potentially look as well. So if we go ahead now and look at the domain authority and the page authority, so we can use the same Moz Chrome bar extension. Let's give that a click. You'll see the page authority is 21 and the domain authority is 25. So as discussed in the previous video, typically we like to get links from sites that have at least a page and domain authority of 30 and above. However, whilst this is a general rule, you can go below that if you feel the site is relevant. The number 30 isn't a hard rule. It's just a guide to ensure we can filter out the majority of the low quality sites. So there wouldn't be any harm in getting a link from a domain authority 20 site if it's super relevant. It could just be a case where that site, for example, hasn't done any SEO. However, they could have a big fan base on social media. However, on the flip side, if the site was domain authority 20 and it wasn't relevant to what we do at all, I wouldn't advise you get a link from it. For example, if I'm a plumber and this site was about financial, maybe tax returns and stuff like that, that isn't relevant, so I wouldn't go ahead and get a link from that. So page authority 21 is 9 points lower. It's not the end of the world. It's 9 points. It's not that big. Domain authority 25 is only 5 points below. So far, everything seems pretty good to me. So now what I want to do is go over to SEMrush and check out the site's traffic and to see how many keywords it appears for. So let's do that now. Go to SEMrush and plug in the URL and click search. Right, so the information has now populated, and as we can see, organic search traffic a month, they're getting 8 visitors, which is extremely low. Typically, you want to go for links on sites that have at least 200 visitors a month. So again, 8 is extremely low. You can drop it and go to 100 to be fair, if you want to give it a little bit more leeway. However, 8 is extremely low. So the fact they have such little traffic means they're probably going to appear for not that many keywords. So as you can see, they appear for 37 keywords. So 37, it's not the lowest. However, as the site is on page 1 and it's at the top of page 1, I would expect them to appear for a lot more keywords and have a lot more traffic. However, the fact they don't is not a good indication. So based on these 2 points alone, this would be a red flag, and I wouldn't actually go ahead and get a link on this site. So I'm glad this came up, as it's a good way to show you exactly how a site can look really good and clean on the surface. Articles look amazing. However, when you actually inspect the back end of the site, it's not the most promising. So let's look and find another site. Let's go for this one, pat.org.uk, for example. Let's close these tabs so the computer will be a little bit faster. So we can see they've got instructions right for us, guest blogging guidelines. They give you more information about the word count, which is really good. And you can see on this one, you can actually submit a guest post using the form here. So there'll be no email. So again, you can use the same template. So try and find the person's name. If you can't find a name, just simply put in the website name. So say hello, say hi Pat, or hello Pat, for example. So you can fill that in. So let's look at this site. You can check previous articles, for example. If you go for the blog, let's have a look at the blog. So they've got best bathroom designs for retirees. So you could look at that one. Let's look at that one. This is the most recent. You'll see you've got an image at the top, which is relevant, which is good. They've got a link to bathroom, which if you check the bottom hand corner of the screen, it says housebeautiful.com. So this is linking to another website called House Beautiful, which is okay. Then we have a link to the Spruce. That could be, I'm not sure what that is. Let's have a look at these links actually, just to make sure. Sometimes sites link out to other authoritative sites as a source of information. Easy to clean shower screens. This seems to be another site. So there's 3 links in this site in total. So the first link will be to this site, which is the Spruce. So this potentially could be the site it's linking to. So the site that wants a guest post, I'm not too sure. Then we have this one, which is House Beautiful. Click accept on that, which I'm not too sure what this is. It could just be designer ideas. Like I said, these could just be links to other authoritative websites, which are just backing up what they say. So let's just imagine, for example, this article had one link going to one site. That would be a good sign. So the next thing to do, again, was to check page authority and domain authority. So if I check that right now, we see we have page authority 20 and we have domain authority 37. So 37 is pretty high. It's 7 points over what I recommend. Domain authority is 10 points below. However, because it's 7 points high, if you work out the difference, it's only 3 points lower. So on the whole, this is a pretty good site. Let's go ahead and check out the traffic now, which is a main thing. So let's type in pat.org and then go over to SEMrush. Oh, let's get that little dot out there and then click search. So we can see it's got 2,000 backlinks already, which is pretty good. That's a lot of backlinks to have. And you can see the site roughly has over 500 organic visitors to the site every single month, which is really good. So that's passed the test. If we scroll down as well, you can see the top organic keywords, 369, which is a decent amount of keywords. So again, this site for me would be a green light. You can also check the traffic trend on the right as well. So you can check the traffic for the last year. You can see the traffic has been stable as well. You can even check the last 2 years. Very, very stable indeed. So this site for me would be a green light. So what I would do next, I would add this site to my list. So I would copy the URL and I would go over to my guest posting opportunities template. I would plug in the website right here. I would put in the page authority, which I'm pretty sure was 20, was it? Let's just have a look at that again. Page authority 20, domain authority 37. So I put in 20 and then I'll put in 37. Traffic, I'll put 500 plus. Article written, so at the moment, no. Article submitted, no. So what I need to do is now get an article written for the site that can actually get featured on the site as a guest post. So before I obviously do that, I need to then get in touch with them, with my template message and figure out what I'm going to write about first. So when you use a template to track all your backlinks, it makes it super, super important. So the idea is any site you feel like it's worthy to get a backlink of or a guest post opportunity, you want to list it here and then list out all of the metrics. So over time, what will happen is you'll have about 10 different websites. You can simply look at the metrics, which is the most powerful site, which has the biggest page authority and domain authority, and then reach out to them sites. And then you know kind of what sites you're going to get links on going forward. When you have the article written and article submitted, it makes it very easy to keep track of what's going on, what articles you might have out, what ones you need to get written. As when you start doing this at scale for obviously lots of clients, if you're going to offer guest posting as a service, you're going to have tons of guest posts going out every single month. So having a template like this just makes it super easy to manage. Another method to generate high quality backlinks for your website is to look at all the backlinks your competitors have. So the beauty of this is you can go through the whole list and simply cherry pick the ones you think are good and then build them out for your website too. So the first thing we need to do is type in a keyword we want to target, such as flooring contractor, Richmond, Virginia. This will then return some companies we are competing with in our local area. So it's important we look at our local companies and not the big lead generation companies. So we want to avoid looking at Angie's List, Porch, for example. So obviously we have Level Finish there on page 1 as well. We want to ignore these guys. That's obviously us. Let's go for custom floors. So let's have a look at all the backlinks these guys have. So let's get custom floors, and we're going to go over to SEMrush to do this. And just like we've done many times in the past, we're going to copy in the website domain name and then click search. Just looking at the site whilst it's loading, the site does look pretty good, to be honest with you. So I'm hoping they do have a decent amount of backlinks in there. So let's wait for SEMrush to load now, which didn't take too long. So the information has now populated and it's loaded. Just again, make sure you have the right database selected. So we do have United States. Now what we can do is click the number that says backlink. So they actually have quite a lot of backlinks. So over 100,000 different backlinks from 269 different websites. So the sites they do have, I'm linking to them. They seem to be linking to them multiple times, which is quite interesting. So let's go ahead and look at the backlinks. Right, the information has now populated, and as you can see, it was last updated 9 days ago now, so just over a week ago, which is good as it means information is up to date. So before you start looking at all of the backlinks, you want to make sure you have the follow tab selected. So SEMrush will only show you backlinks that are do follow if you have this selected. If you have all links or even no follow, what will happen is SEMrush will show you a mix of follow and no follow links, which, as we know from the last video in this training course, we don't want to be building guest post links that are no follow, as no follow links don't provide any SEO value at all. So no follow links are typically for citations. So when you're building a guest post, you want to have follow links selected. So as a result, now we can see all of the do follow links for this website. We can scroll down. We can get one on Hollyport Ventures, for example. There's one on Richmond Magazine, which is most likely just going to be mentioning them as a business in Richmond. So we want to find a link on a site which we know is going to be a guest post. So typically you can figure it out by the name of the site and the URL. So insights to help keep your hardwood floor shiny and well maintained. So potentially this could be actually a guest post opportunity. Let's open that in a new tab. And we've got this one right here, how to grout like a pro. So let's look at these two links. So the first is on Marlin website. So it seems to be a female blogger. And you can see it's just a general article about how to keep your hardwood floors shiny and well maintained. So the content seems to be pretty decent in length. You can see there's a link right here, which says it is recommended. So this is probably just a recommendation to an authority site in this industry. Keep scrolling down, we'll see there's a link here talking about custom floors. So use these tips to maintain your hardwood floors and keep them looking nice. For more information, contact companies like Custom Floors. So potentially we could actually reach out to this site and say, hey, I saw you had an article talking about hardwood floors. Are you interested in getting another hardwood floor article mentioned on your site? Potentially I can cover topics such as how much do hardwood floors cost? And as a result, you could then get that article written, send it across to Marilyn, and then she'll then get it posted on her site. So if we look at the second link we found, we can see it's how to grout like a pro. It's published in 2016, and essentially it's an article just talking about how to grout your floor like a pro. And as you can see at the end of the article, it says for tile installation, contact a company such as Custom Floors. So this is an example of another link we can then go out and get for our site. So again, it would be the same process. It would simply be going on this site, using a contact form and just saying, hey, I noticed you had an article talking about how to grout like a pro. Are you open to having more articles like this on your site? If so, I would love to write one for you. Here's an article 1 or topic 1, topic 2 and topic 3. Which one would you like to go ahead with? They would then tell you what topic they like. You would go ahead, get it written, send it across to them, and then you'd now have a guest post on both of these sites. So it's an extremely powerful method, as you can essentially filter through all of the backlinks and then see what ones you like to get a link on. Of course, when you're evaluating the links, you want to follow the same 5 points of criteria. Make sure they have good traffic, the good domain authority and page authority. This is just an overview to show you how we find those opportunities in the first place. Strategy 3, sponsorships. Sponsorship link building, as it sounds, involves going out and finding sponsorship opportunities relevant to your city. Keyword being local to your city. The reason why you want to focus on opportunities relevant to your city is you'll get the additional benefit in the link, which will be geo-relevancy. As you already know, links are important for ranking in Google. When we have a link from a local entity, such as a business or maybe even a local sports team, for example, we are also increasing our local relevance as well. So it's kind of like killing 2 birds with 1 stone. There's 2 methods you can use to find these opportunities. Both involve using Google search operators. Essentially, we're going to be looking for pages that have the word sponsorship in either the URL or the page title. So let's head over to Google and see this in action. Right, so I'm over on Google now, and I'm simply going to carry a search out for the first site operator, which was in URL, sponsorship, city name. So for me, the city name is obviously going to be Richmond, Virginia, as that is the city I am targeting with the business. So let's search for that. If you do get this come up, it just means you've done a few search operators in a short space of time. So just get rid of that, click I'm not a robot, and you should get your results popping through. So don't worry about that box indeed. It's just Google making sure you're not like a spammer or like a robot, for example. So now the results have loaded. You can see I've got Indeed, which is obviously a job website. So I want to ignore that one. I've got visitricmondva.com, which is really good, as they have my location in the domain name, Richmond, which meant if I got a link from them, that will pass tons and tons of geo-relevancy. So that's a good one to find straight away. We've got urgent sponsored jobs in Richmond. So again, that would be a job. I'm not looking for jobs here. I've got Crew Richmond sponsorship. They have a Richmond address. This would potentially be another good one. We've got sportbackers.org. You can also go on the later pages on Google to find more opportunities. It won't only just be page 1. So for example, I'm pretty sure this is page 2 now. And we've got this example site right here, sponsorship opportunities. So I've got 4 open in total now. So you can see there's quite a lot of opportunities. So what you want to do is go and look at the sites in a bit more detail. So when you're analyzing these sites, it's not the same 5 criteria points as when determining if a link is good. As these are sponsorship opportunities and the links are from local companies, you can be a little more lenient on what you kind of mark them down upon. So for example, I wouldn't worry about how much traffic they have or what keywords they appear for. It's more about getting a link from a local site. So we can see we've got a visitricmondvirginia.com. This is the first site. And this should be sponsoring, by the looks of it, a region tourism or event. So again, depending on what you want to sponsor, you can get in touch with these guys and just figure out how much it is to actually get a sponsor link. And obviously really important as well, we want to figure out what you're actually sponsoring and what you're paying for. So this is another great way. So what I'm going to do, this site looks very good. And just to make sure as well, they are based in Richmond, Virginia, as I can see that from the street address. And obviously it's apparent from the name. So I'm going to log this one on our spreadsheet. So as you can see, it's a similar spreadsheet we're using for the guest post. However, as you can see, I've removed the elements which we don't need, such as the traffic and so on. So I'm going to plug in the website URL. And now I want to get the page authority and domain authority. So again, you don't need to be too tough with this. As like I said, this is more of a local business. So we're getting geo-relevance out of it as well. So if we click the Moz extension, you'll see page authority 26, domain authority 55. So again, actually really good numbers anyway, 26 and 55. So I'm going to fill that in, 26 and 55. Obviously, I'm not sure how much it is to sponsor, so I'm actually going to get in touch with these people and find out. So if we look at the other one, which is crewrichmond.org, you can see a page authority 13, domain authority 14. So again, a little bit low, but it's nothing to worry about as we're getting the geo-relevant link. So if you look at the sponsorship opportunities, wow, that's very expensive. $5,000, that's way over my budget. We've got $2,000 and we've got $1,000. The cheapest seems to be $500, which to be fair is still a lot of money. So I'm just going to close this one. However, if that is within your budget, do feel free to go ahead and contact these guys. For me, that's over my budget, so I'm going to skip that one. The next site we have open is sportbackers.org. So I'm not actually sure where they are based. Are they actually based in Richmond? However, you can see they've got domain authority of 47 and page authority of 28. So again, pretty good numbers up there. Just want to scroll down and see where these guys are actually based. So we can see they are based in Richmond, Virginia. So again, this could be a very good opportunity of sponsoring something to do with sports. So I'm going to copy this, go back to my spreadsheet. Page authority and domain authority, I'm pretty sure it was 28 and 47. So 28 and 47. So again, just me keeping a log of all these sites and how powerful they are. If we check the last one, we can see we've got Virginia Energy Efficiency Council. So again, it seems to be the council in Virginia. Page authority 19, domain authority 22. So let's add that to our spreadsheet. 19 and 22. 19, oh, and 22. Forgot to copy the URL. Let's just get that in there as well. And let's see if they have a price to sponsor on here. To be fair, what I'm actually even sponsoring, let's see. Because like I said, it is quite important to me. I don't want to just sponsor anything just for the link. It's nice to actually have more of an impact as well. So let's click this to view opportunities. I guess by the sounds of the website, it would be related to energy efficiency, which is like saving the planet, which is great. So I'll be happy to sponsor a site like this. And we can see they have prices which actually start, the cheapest starts at $100. So again, I'll just go back to my spreadsheet and I'll put price to sponsor 100 in here, which would be £100. Obviously, I'll convert that to the right currency, which for me would be currency in this instance. So I would just go for United States. Oh, that would be a Spanish currency. We don't want that one. Let's go to this one, English United States, and then click OK. So that's the right currency in there now. So the beauty of this is when you start going through the first 10 pages on Google, you really start to get tons of local sponsorship opportunities for your business, and it's extremely powerful. So what we just done on Google was the first one, which was in URL sponsorship, city name. You can then rinse and repeat and go in title and do exactly the same thing. So then Google will return all the sponsorship opportunities that have sponsorship in the title. So again, you can find probably another 50 more using this method here. So it's an extremely powerful method. Make sure you do incorporate it into your link building campaign. Strategy 4, create a local content asset. So a local content asset is a piece of content you create that is an asset to you and to someone else. So typically the best way to create them is what we call using an infographic. If you haven't heard of the term infographic before, it's literally an image that provides information in a graphical form. So such as this. So here we have an infographic for London. So you can see within this infographic, there's multiple sections such as annual visit to the most famous sites of London. So then you have the Big Ben and House of Parliament. You've got Tower Bridge, you've got St. Paul's Cathedral, you've got London Eye. Then we have other sections as well, traditional transport, whether it's a black cab or a London bus. So you can see essentially what this image is doing. It's giving you tons of information about London. So you might be thinking, this is great, but how do I apply it to my business? And most importantly, how do I get links from it? We can use the same principle and use the same strategy and apply it to our business too. So for example, for Level Finish, I could create an infographic saying the 5 best coffee shops in Richmond, Virginia. And then in that infographic, I would cover the top 5 coffee shops. So coffee shop 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And then I would make that infographic and then I'll get it added to the blog on my website. Once it's added on a blog on my website, I would then reach out to these exact 5 local coffee shops and say, hey, I made this amazing infographic talking about the 5 best coffee shops in Richmond. You 5 guys were mentioned. Would you mind checking it out and adding a link on your site referencing it to it? As a result, because they're mentioned in the top 5 coffee shops in Richmond, they're all going to want to brag about it and tell all their customers, hey, I made it into the top 5 coffee shops in Richmond. So as a result, you end up getting tons of links back to your site as well. So if you had 5 coffee shops, then obviously you'd get 5 links. If you put 10, then obviously you'd get 10 links. So as you can imagine, creating a local content asset is a great way to track loads of geo-relevant links, as all these coffee shops will be based in Richmond and they'll all be linking to you. So what we just covered is what I refer to as an advanced link building campaign. I can almost guarantee that the businesses you're competing with in your local area, they aren't going to this extent to generate geo-relevant links. So as soon as you go ahead and get a load of these infographics generated, added to your blog, you're going to attract tons of local geo-relevant links. And over time, you're going to build up the authority and your geo-relevance of your site, and you're going to blow these guys out of the water. So you're probably thinking, this is great, but I can't actually make this infographic myself. But obviously I want one for my blog. What do? There's actually a website called Fiverr.com. You might have seen it in the past. Essentially, it's a marketplace where there's sellers on there offering services. You've got digital marketing, writing and translation, and so on and so on. If you went onto Fiverr.com and typed in infographic, you will see tons of people providing infographic as a service. So we've got this person right here, which is just £4.02, so very cheap. They have really good reviews as well. You can see you've got this seller here for £12, one for £16, one for £24. So, depending on your budget, depending on what seller you go with. However, I would say as long as the reviews are good, they should be okay to go ahead. Typically, I wouldn't recommend Fiverr to most people, as there's loads of services on there which are really, really bad. Like, for example, digital marketing. There's a lot of SEO stuff you can get done on there. Like, you can buy backlinks and stuff like that, but the backlinks never end up being good. So I wouldn't recommend it for stuff like that. Just use it for the infographic. That's exactly what we do for our clients when it comes to link building. Super, super powerful method, guys. So make sure you do incorporate this in your link building campaign.